ground?
Yeah.
That was,
yeah, built on reclaimed wetlands. And so I'll tell you right now, as we speak, this is the king tides. You know what the king tides are?
No.
They happen every September, October, and November. Not the entire time, but there's like a week here, a weekend there for those 3 months. It is what we call sunny day flooding. So it has to do with the tides. It has to do with the distance between the sun and the moon and the earth, and it floods in the sunlight. We can get as much as 12 inches above the highest high tide of the year.
So it's not from rain?
It's not. Now, here's the problem. We're still in hurricane season, which means rain exacerbates it. Inclement weather we're totally fucked when it rains on top of the king tides. But this is just like a day, like if you were in a low-lying area or waterfront or oceanfront, bayfront, that's just what, sunny day. It could be perfectly beautiful, and you could have as much as 12 inches above the highest high tides.
So it's just an unusual level of the ocean.
Yeah, it's just a quirk of the tides. It happens every year, off and on for 3 months. Yeah, that's in the, we call it sunny day flooding. That's a thing that we have there. I mean, Miami, we make it rain, but we have sunny day flooding is a thing.
And there's nothing they can do like New Orleans, like put up some sort of a wall, a dam.
So the Army Corps of Engineers proposed a kind of futuristic, post-apocalyptic, after the flood, well, pre-flood, kind of a wall. And Miami said, no gracias, no thank you. We don't want that. We'll fend for ourselves.
Did they say no because it was too expensive, or did they say no because...
No, the Army Corps of Engineers, I think, was good. I think it was going to be federally funded. They just didn't want this unsightly, unseemly kind of a wall in our beautiful town. But what they did want is they wanted a signature bridge. We're building like this $800 million bridge that we don't need. But it's super pretty, as we say in Miami. It's super pretty.
And somebody probably got a good deal.
Oh yeah. Oh, you better believe the contractors. That's the thing. That's why the Miami of today is the America of tomorrow. It's really the corruption, dysfunction, and nonstop construction. That's really what it is. It's this anything goes, Wild West kind of mentality. Because, I said this before on the show, LA is where you go when you want to be somebody. New York is where you go when you are somebody. And Miami is where you go when you want to be somebody else. Yeah. It's always been a sunny place for shady people. The Florida man phenomenon. It's just like, if you have, it's not New England. It's not what's your name, who's your daddy. Everyone's nouveau riche in Miami. So no one cares where your money came from. As long as the booze is flowing and everybody's dancing, the music's going, nobody gives a shit.
And it's always been that place. It's always been that party place. You were telling me before about how during was it the 70s, the 80s, these recording artists would go down to Miami.
Listen, Miami is it's America's Casablanca, and so some of the biggest records of all time. Back when that was a business, like you could sell tens of millions of albums. Everybody went to Miami. Eric Clapton was one of the first. Jimmy Buffett, the Bee Gees, the Eagles, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, the Allman Brothers, Fleetwood Mac, and they were doing all those records that we all still know today from the 70s. They recorded, mixed or mastered, at least in part. Glenn Frey and Don Henley wrote the lyrics to Hotel California in a rented mansion on Miami Beach, where that had been the love nest of Howard Hughes and Ava Gardner. Winston Churchill used it as a winter home, and the Watergate burglars and Howard Hunt used it as well. And then Stephen Stills used it. He was hanging out there with like Shel Silverstein. It was like a weird scene. And then eventually the Eagles came down to do Hotel California and wrote the lyrics. They locked themselves, these two guys, in a fucking room. And the housekeeper left sandwiches and drinks at the door because the door was closed. And they came down in bathrobes one day with legal pads, yellow legal pads, and said, "We have it. We have the lyrics." And so everybody, and it was a communal scene too, kind of like your place. Everybody sort of like stops by. Yeah, like, people stop by to get. It was like that because you had all these artists in every. So there was pickup basketball games outside. You'd drive up and there'd be the Bee Gees playing the Allman Brothers, playing Eric Clapton in a pickup basketball game. And they to this day, Criteria Studios, they have an upright piano. And the rumor has it one day there was an artist, I won't mention the name, was playing and had a baggie of cocaine on the top of the piano.
Samo.
And the baggie
Karaš
fell.
spiraš, karaš spiraš, karaš
Fell.
spiraš.
Boom. Puff of smoke.
Само
On
че
the
ни
keys.
караш или има с някой стири?
Appropriate.
Още,
И тук има момчета.
още
Bag
един.
salvage what we
Huh?
could.
Още един
And
има.
then for the next several months, the people at the studio who worked at it would stick a straw between the keys on the piano and try to mostly dust they were probably snorting, but like we're just trying to salvage whatever they could for their so the joke was that
И момче от името му гад.
they had
От
a
името.
line item on the bills, because that's the thing, they were away from the watchful eyes and ears of the labels, which were all based in New York and LA. So they would go to Miami and no one knew what the fuck was going on. I didn't have publicists or producers or executives rather from the recording studio. So they would send them bills to pay for the studio time. There'd be a line item for cocaine, but you couldn't say cocaine. And I think, by the way, cocaine was at that time was probably part of the appeal of bringing the artists to Miami, to be fair.
Probably, right?
But it was under the category of piano tuning. Was the cocaine. So you get like someone at accounts and a record label would call up and say, "Hey, question about this invoice. There's $5,000 here for piano. Tuning. One ballad on the album. What's with all this fucking piano tuning? There was an act. Oh God, I'm not going to say it. There was a band who came down in the 80s to record a Criterion. And they came down again in the 90s. And the guy who runs the studio, Trevor, his mom was the manager before him. So he was a little kid running around this scene. You can imagine a little kid in my 70s running around this scene. This is an incredible place. Aretha Franklin did the Respect record at Criterion. James Brown did I Feel Good. Record that song
I don't think
at
so.
Criterion. It's a really historic place. And so this man comes in and he says to the lead singer, he says, "Hey, listen, I don't know if you remember if you were down here 15 years ago, whatever.
I don't need a change of scenery. I need
this record."
this
And the singer says,
thing to work.
"I have no memory of that
And I am.
whatsoever, except for one thing.
Because when things go wrong, I'm like,
One
yo,
night, apparently,
I'm fine.
we were done recording here, and someone took us into the neighborhood. It's like in the
Let's make
residential
400 this week, man.
into the neighborhood.
Seems like I won't.
Brought out a brick of cocaine.
I won't be getting that.
Cocaine. I've never seen.
Well, we'll see.
She put it down on the coffee table. We're sitting on the couch. She put it down on like this big.
Okay, so
She put it down on the coffee table. She cut it open, and all I remember from my entire experience in Miami is the smell of that entire kilo of cocaine. Like just what it feels like when an entire kilo of cocaine is opened up before you and it hits you.
Have you ever done coke?
Never.
Me neither.
Never.
But hearing that, I want to see that. I just want to know.
That is a takeaway.
I want to know what that's like.
what?
Watch the entire episode for free, only on Spotify.
Why is it not watching? Seeing this other card, bro.
Да бе, пробивал там дупки и майчи. Една търпата болка я правил. Да бе.
Don't tell me that.
Обади му са.
Okay, you're very professional. People are like, how do you live and things like that. They're like, you taking money from the Russians? And of course the answer is no. But I do this for a living. Like I speak. I don't have a YouTube channel where it's, I'm Joe Rogan. But I give speeches at universities and things like that. I do a lot of interviews and so. We're recording now, right? My own setup. Is it possible that you could do a YouTube channel? Would that work? If you introduce me, so like I get followers, yeah, we can do that. Dude, I'm all in. That could absolutely happen. Do you want to do that? Is that something you want to do? No, this is a big question. So I came on because I had just written a book called Permanent Ways.
Ну що ти худалася?
The story of my life.
Березо!
Bro, it's no bueno. Only one, bro. I was gonna see a second one. Dang, what the fuck? Wait. What's happening?
What?
Sucks.
А де?
Школки удар давали.
Шко.
Що?
Шко. Де такий
Хто?
ніхто. Ще.
А, мусор.
I guess my vibe is like I get that.
Turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys quarters of a mile into the arches. Obscure driving.
So they found her.
Some obscure driving, possibly intoxicated.
Отакий живу.
Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject says hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before.
Wait, why is it not showing me this? Interesting. Why is it not recognizing? That's very weird. I did not expect that.
For the gate. You want to place your vehicle in the park and go ahead and turn it off for me? No, park? Oh, it isn't parked yet. Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dashboard, alright? What's your guys' names? Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying? get you to step out of the vehicle for me? Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm gonna go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here? SO229, I have the female that was in the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. Why don't you come over?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him, saying, "I'm sorry that I'm so mean." Sometimes I have OCD, and sometimes I get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I guess my vibe is like I really like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I was just really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job. I was a nutritionist. That was my job. And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. Just a couple months. So I've been building my website. So I've been really stressed. And he doesn't really believe that I can do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like been down there. I don't know, we just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before, and then
Why wouldn't you let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
told me I need to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time, and he really stresses me out, and I just, this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay? All right. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat.
Wait, is this after or before?
What do you mean?
I just don't get it. Is it after or is it before?
What's that? Yeah, I just spoke to her. So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty?
Okay. Come on. Come on. Yes.
Come over
I
here.
just learned something.
You're not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her, so like I lock the car and I went to wait for her. But what happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything, so I give her time to, and we really had a nice morning and everything, but she just, worked up as we were trying to get going and get a day going, because we want to go, make ours and stuff like that.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She didn't step on anything, and that's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted to, I like the keys, so I could walk away. I said, let's just take it easy.
Lie.
Let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. She's getting worked up. And then she had her phone and was trying to get keys.
Liar.
I don't know what she was pushing. I was trying to push her away. She go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me.
Can I see your hand? No, you got more right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
It's on the wire.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her driving the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel.
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over. And she did.
What about the speed? Did she take over the? Did she take over the pedal on you?
I was going fast.
Calls.
That's why I just,
Say two.
I'm still thinking, yeah, the adrenaline's gonna rise.
Messages. Say two.
So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry about that. We're just going to the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up, so we're just getting water for the night. And I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because there's plans still to go for our hike next year.
Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
If I was speeding, I'm sorry.
You don't have anything in that pocket or anything like that, do you? Nope. Just the wallet? Right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check the waistband?
I got it.
Turn around a little bit. I just want to make sure, that's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor, take a seat.
Vedi a parte se lo facciamo.
Oh, no. Wait, where's my phone? I don't know, bro. Where is the phone, bro? Oh, it's right here. I need this because I need the code.
Yeah, get through the door.
Ну і як Софія стане?
your ID on you?
In the car, I don't.
Yeah, no, we'll just do this. Just go ahead and fix it.
You don't do that.
What's your first name?
Ryan?
Brian? Is that what it's spelling?
B-R-I-N, yeah, and L-A-U-N.
And then your last name?
L-A-U-N.
L-A-U-N.
D-R-I-E.
D-R-I-E?
Yep.
Laundry? Okay. What's your date of birth, Brian? Alright, just hang tight for me. SO229. I need a 29 name and date of birth. First name Brian, name and spellings, last name Laundry, Lima, Alpha, Uniform, November, Delta, Romeo, India. Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November. It's gonna be out of Florida.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying he hit you, but I understand if he hit you, but we want to know if he actually hit you. Because, you know, where did he hit you? No, where did you, hang on. You were hitting him? Anxiety and stress. And what's his name? Is that Ryan? Is he usually pretty patient with you? I've taken my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, so much my ex-wife, I'm just sharing, I know it's a little personal, but help you understand. We would feed off each other's anxiety and spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying. I'm not telling what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean? And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question, you said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel? You did not touch the steering wheel.
Only for like a second because I just saw the lights come on and it was more just like you're an idiot, like, you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and like swerve or anything like that?
I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, don't worry. Thank you.
Did you already give a statement to this officer? This gentleman here. This gentleman arrested you have some marks on your This is the loss number 2. We're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told the story. This officer is probably going to be the one handling the case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And then you tell him what happened. So, if you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
Start at the beginning. Well, I don't want to go too far back, but we've been in Beyond Land for the past week or so driving around. And the flies here are pretty intense, so the flies are definitely going to get into her. And then my feet are dirty and everything, so I think that our little squabble started because you're hanging out at the coffee shop, and when we got back to the main, there was some dirty stuff. And I moved our food around, so there's all this on the wall, so she gets a little creepy.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Do you need any more?
That's okay.
It's hot out
I
here.
just didn't want we were going to get one because we ran out, but it's okay. No, it's okay. I don't like basketball. But we just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying,
Takie.
Dobra.
Cardio.
so it was just more disagreement, and I just
Poszło?
Zasada.
It was happening called disagreement.
Brawo,
It was just that
Tommy.
I'm dirty and I can't
No.
change being dirty.
Brawo.
I got 30 feet. I got sand on my flip-flops and stuff like that.
много проверки, много нещо. От София идваха на проверки. Батальона. Сертификат, че има на Корен другия месец от 8 и тук Корен Хасково. От 8 другия месец до 16 ще сме там на палата. На открито. Като миналата година. Ама миналата беше сертификата на бригадата, а пък сега на батальона ще. Нали по натовски работи там. Искат да са работи, проверки, работи. Даваха ни бойно снаряжение, каски нови, жилетки нови, тактически лечета, колани, да си слагаме пистолетите, всичко на колана. Пълнители, много нещо. Ама до ден ще издържи хубаво. За сега е хубаво. И каските, и други не са метални. Една друга материя. Като те гръмнат, нали, с куршум да не може да те убие. Не е бронирано, а нещо като някаква пластмаса, някаква персонала. И има на каските много работи там. И има джаджи за нощно виждане, нали? Като отидем на Корен ще ни дават. Там за нощни уреди, като гърмими, като таковни. Жилетките и тилба и бронираните жилетки не са тежки. Аз като бях на мисия бяха 23 кг тежки, а пък тая лека. Отпускат вече пари, правят по-нови работи. Ние като помня, като ходихме на мисии на само там 23 кг тежко нещо. Тая бронежилетка. А пък той лекичко, той дали 10 на 15 кг да е. Лек. Ще нагледат такова на всеки ден. От миналата седмица се побърка. Аз трябваше да почивам понеделник, вторник и сряда. Ама заради тия софиянците, тия проверки, работи. И днес от 4. Както и той виж какви колани има, и ние имаме едни подобни колани, и всичко пистолети, работи. Обаче имаме и жилетки, тактически отбори, да слагаме други джойчи. Какви са? Сертификанти.
Има една двойка. Това. Какво е състояние на една двойка преди да се женят? Как се казва това?
Сгождяват.
Да. И отидоха на това, да путешестват по цяла Америка. И сега...
Викам да не да някакви нелегални да минават границата и те да ги спират.
И сега, тая сега изчезна, търсят я.
Нали тук си?
Това е, полицаи публикуваха видео...
Че минали границата?
Не, че случайно ги видяха как нарушават движение, обаче това няколко дена преди да изчезне.
Да, изчезвам.
Да, обаче това не е ния годеника там до колата.
Не.
Да, не.
Години.
Ама той сега, на момента сега той се върнал. При своите семейство, да.
Ама нали изчезнал?
Изчезнал, обаче той взе си адвокат и нищо не говори. Нали, той като взима адвокат, никой не може да го пипне. И сега никой не знае къде е тя, какво се случва с тя. И цяла Америка е в хаос.
И годиника и той търси?
Да.
И те се съмняват в годиника?
Не. това преди тя да изчезне, преди той да се върне. Сега го публикува.
Нали бил с нея, как
или е мъртва,
или той нещо е направил.
да, смисъл, или той я уби,
Или я продал.
или не знам, или остави някъде, което е най-вероятно. Защото той като говори сега с тези полицаи, обяснява, че е това.
Че се видява.
Обяснява това, че той не е агресивен с нея, той просто я оставя. Когато имат конфликти, той я оставя.
Нали в полицейска кола?
За сега е полицейска кола, обаче след някакво време те ще ги пуснат, те ще отидат със своето си пътешествие и след няколко дена той ще се върне, обаче без нея. Разбираш?
Дълга и широка.
Да. Интересно, защото цяла Америка го гледа.
Цяла Америка го търся и я търся.
Да.
Айде. Спокойно.
Давай.
Trying to walk her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to walk her out, told her to go take a walk. Said that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He said, I don't understand why she did that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she would have her shit so that he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her, as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he's going to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor. Now the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation.
Какво си рекал на мама? Някакви доктори не. Казвай.
Това, утре да ме вземеш един час по-рано да се караш на доктор. Да ми отреже това.
Кога?
Нокътя. В 3:30.
3:30 съм на работа.
Ти заминаваш утре?
Къде заминавам? На работата да отивам в 3:30.
Да. Аз мисля, че ти
Не бе, ти ми викаш 3:30. Викам на работата ли?
Да.
3:30 пред работата.
Да.
Добре.
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hit in the arm. So
Sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling on the wheel.
yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both, and usually the truth is somewhere between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault. Domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him. You know what I mean? So, fortunately for her, we cannot treat just because he's big on shoulders, he's not willing to press charges. We can't treat this differently than if it was a male and female violence. And we're gonna have to charge her, and we can do medication right that can be made to separate them, and then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. And we have to let him know the only way to drop this is going to the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday. So it won't be till tomorrow. No, there's a noon, I think. Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
Well, the other part of it is they said they're going
give me a chance. When I say I, because I'm not sure. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners, and you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to, but the ones we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she is the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and you just received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her, she has not admitted to striking her, the witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of domestic assault, and even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we can do to not, the law says we have to charge her, doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay? It also says we have to separate it, so no contact order, and we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's no problem here, you guys are on board living together. How are we supposed to separate her? Now, I don't want to take this small 20 minutes. 20-year-old female in jail. Yeah, you can definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, you can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were a male raping her. We gotta treat it the same. So she's not a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, you have to keep down somewhere she can stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can go to jail. You can't because you don't have a charge. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to, you can meet with her again tomorrow. If you want to meet with her again tomorrow, because after 5 so offices close, you can go to the police department, fill out a waiver, to drop the no contact order so you guys can still meet again, but she's going to have a court date online. So she's going to have to show up for a court date online to answer. The prosecutor might drop it. She might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, that's your decision.
It definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. My fiance, I love her. This is a problem. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. But I'm not so. I just want to get like that check on some things I gotta do to do it.
You don't want that, eh? Well, she'll get paid for what the court did.
I don't get it.
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue to drop it. First, this is an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Here's the, do you understand the charges we're going against you? Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no? Do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak to the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you. Say, hey man, actually $110,000 died. We understand you're not even wanting to pursue this with the cop that's going to protect you. How do you work more in the interest of you and justice for you, the victim? What do you think? And they can decide to pursue a prosecutor. Or they can decide to drop it. Or they can decide to give her a plea and they can kind of go away if she begins something. That still does not eliminate the court's order hearings. So she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online. So if you're out of town, here's the thing, if you're out of town and she doesn't come in.
A few days is one thing when you're out camping, but when it starts to become 7, 8, 9, 10 days, that's a problem.
Oh!
Yeah. And remember, me and her team was talking about
to my contact over there at very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and the stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop calling me Honda.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way. I'll let you get back to your own parents, okay? Investigation. Here. So, this is what I'm going to do. I've decided I am not going to cite you for domestic violence matter, okay? It was only going to be a Class B misdemeanor. However, the domestic violence portion of it enhances it. Makes like a major pain in the butt, especially at your 22, right? So I'm choosing not to cite you today. So you are not going to be charged with it. Alright? But this is what I do have to do. I am separating between you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other, relax, breathe, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? This is I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you come out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking a van tonight, and you're going to go somewhere else. I am going to get him lined up with a hotel room tonight. I want you guys to stay away from each other. For both of you guys to see. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys had a bunch of little things that are building up, and finally the little string that you guys were tight walking on tonight. Is that alright? So, I just want everybody to breathe, get a chance away from each other, go eat a meal, talk to your parents, whatever it is you gotta do.
Yeah.
Just told this one. Okay, I'll make sure that he has a phone charger. Okay? And if I have anything else, please keep your cell phone on. As you can see, I have keys in my hand, which is good, okay? So, something that I do, that I emphasize to him, and I don't know if I emphasize to you or not, don't text each other tonight. He wants to pass on the same message you passed to him. I'm looking forward to talking to you again, but I told him, and you, unless there's earth-shattering emergency news, don't text tonight, okay? Even with the good nights, I love you. He's saying good night now. He's saying he loves you now, and you guys can go tomorrow morning, okay? He's gonna go to the hotel. I'm gonna give you the keys to the van. Alrighty? So, here's that. I'm giving him a ride over to the hotel, okay? So, everything's gonna be okay.
Will it be a far drive for me to get him in the morning? I'm just curious.
I'm not gonna tell you where he's gonna be at tonight. Like I said, I want you guys to be separated. But I can tell you this.
I just don't usually drive the van, so I just want to make sure it's not like far.
No, not at all. It's off.
Okay.
It's basically from here to the flower. Okay? It's not far at all. So, let's get you in the van, let's get you on your way, alright? Do you want that Gatorade, by the way? You got enough water? Also, something I want you to know. Here, stand over here real fast for me. If you go over to City Market, they have a list of places where you can get yourself a shower for like $4 or $5, something like that. They're pretty cheap. Place where you can shower, decompress, de-stress a little bit, alrighty?
Yeah, I just showered yesterday or whatever it is.
Well, you didn't have today happen yesterday, so it does my wife wonders. So when she gets stressed out, it's like, get in the shower. Just get in the shower. Go take a shower, relax, take some time to yourself. And like I said, don't text each other tonight. Text each other tomorrow morning after your eyes open. Stressed out to go take a long hot shower, so I gave her a place to go where she can get a hotel room, or not a hotel room, but get a shower tonight for like $4 or $5, really cheap. So, no problem. Well, I've got quite a few. Like I said, my wife has really bad anxiety, and she takes medication for it daily. And sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes it builds up, and it happens. I mean,
Okay. Let's just stay.
well, I will say this. When my wife got put on a medication, within a week, I saw a complete turnaround in her attitude, her demeanor. I mean, she wasn't nearly as aggressive or angry or anything like that. It was a considerable difference in her day-to-day life, and it made her quality of life better even. You know what I mean? And it's made my quality of life a whole lot better too, because I don't have her being as stressed. I know that 5.5 years of marriage, I know it's not very long, but at the same time, you learn a lot in the first 5 years. How long you guys been together?
Yeah.
I used to drive a truck. I used to be a commercial motor vehicle driver, you know, the big trucks. And I took my wife with me, and we would easily spend a couple months on end without going home or anything like that, being cooped up in a little 8x8 cage, is what I called it, because you didn't have any time to yourself, so to speak. You didn't have time to, you know, you're going through Arizona, you can't just turn off the road and go see the Grand Canyon or anything like that. So, well, that was one of the major advantages of having her with me, was I could say, hey, I'm hungry, can you get me something to eat? She was able, because I was driving and she wasn't, she was able to go back, get into the cooler, I guess lunch or whatever, you know? So, there was that as an advantage. Yeah. I've lived here, I'm just shy of 2 years living out here, but my grandfather's lived out here for like 40. So I've been through here a couple of times. But, you know, growing up in California, have you ever been there? I love driving the one. I absolutely love it. But yeah. Well, if you take the 80 across to get into California, takes you up over Donner Pass and into Sacramento. It's not any different at all. But you said you're going to be going up to Oregon to see her grandmother or her grandmother's friend. So you'll probably be coming down the 5. You won't be able to tell the difference between California and Oregon up there, except for the fact that there's going to be a sign that says "Welcome to California." But at the same time, since you're going to be coming from the east side of Oregon, you're going to be driving through Oregon and going, "There's no difference between Utah." It's actually desert in the southeast corner of Oregon. It's a lot of high desert atmosphere, like what this is. It's not the Red Rock or anything like that, but it's just, there's nothing out there dogs. Look, if you don't hit Sequoia National Park while you're in California, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you
We thank you for joining us at 7 o'clock. I'm David Usher. Tonight, there are some new twists and turns in the case of a woman from Long Island who disappeared while on a road trip. Gabby Petito from Blue Point hasn't been heard from since the last week of August. Her family believes she might be over 2,100 miles away in Wyoming. Today, neighbors of her fiance, Brian Laundrie, revealed police found the van she was traveling in at his home in Northport, Florida. No sign of Gabby, though, and tonight, the fiance is refusing to cooperate with police. Justin Shecker from our NBC station in Tampa is at the home tonight with the emotional plea from Gabby's father.
Northport police say the search for 22-year-old Gabby Petito remains a missing persons case. At this time, they have no evidence a crime occurred. The boyfriend's family referred police to their attorney.
I think most people would think that this individual might have some details as far as the last time he saw her, the last whereabouts. Yeah, I think it has not been helpful that we have not been able to talk to him.
Petito had been living with her boyfriend Brian Laundrie at his parents' home in Southwest Florida. That's where Northport police say on Saturday night they recovered the 2012 white Ford van from the couple's cross-country road trip. Northport police are processing that van for evidence. Back on July 2nd, Petito and her boyfriend left New York for a trip out west. They documented their visits to national parks on social media. Petito's mom says communication began to dwindle in late August, and she last spoke with her daughter on August 25th. This past Saturday, family reported her missing to Suffolk County Police. In a statement, an attorney for the Laundrie family says, "It is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family." Gabby's family is holding on to hope she will be found safe and sound.
Look at every picture that you're going to see on this screen. Watch the video. Let her face burn it into your memory. Let the way she stands, talks, walks. You know, the holds the peace signs up. She's got the let it be on her forearm. Burn those images into your memory when you're driving down the road or you're hiking a trip.
Right outside Capitol Reef right now, in a free dispersed camp spot. And we've been lucky so far at all the places we've stayed, but I'd say this is one of the best so far. Since we left New York, I've only set up my hammock once, and now we're all the way in Utah, and luckily enough, I was able to set up my hammock in one of these trees.
And we're kind of like in the desert.
Maybe a few trees.
Let's take you now to Northport, Florida, where officials are holding a press conference on the disappearance of Gabby Petito, who went missing on a cross-country trip with her fiance. Let's listen.
September 11th, 2001. In June of 2021, Gabby and her fiance embarked on a cross-country trip with plans to travel across the West Coast and visit state national parks in the western United States. They were traveling in Gabby's 2012 white Ford van and documented their journey on YouTube and social media. We have a picture of the white Ford van that they were traveling in. She maintained regular contact with her family members during her travels. However, that communication abruptly stopped around the end of August. Gabby is a vibrant 22-year-old with a love for life and adventure. She's a daughter, a sister, and a granddaughter. She was excited to share her cross-country trek with others on social media and with her family. Gabby's family and those in the community here and in New York who know and care for her are hoping for answers about her whereabouts. We have investigators working diligently around the clock, as well as with the FBI. The FBI is present here today to show their solidarity and commitment to this investigation, and we are grateful for all their resources. Due to the geographic scope of the investigation, it's important that we partner with our federal and local partners. At this time, I'm going to allow Joe, Gabby's dad, to come up and say a few words.
All right, what I need from everybody here is help, because the goal is still not met, and that goal is to bring Gabby home safe. All right, and I'm asking for help from everyone here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking for help from the parents of Brian, and I'm asking for help of the family members and friends of the Laundrie family as well. You know, there is a tip line that you can call anonymously. Whatever you can do to make sure my daughter comes home, I'm asking for that help. There's nothing else that matters to me now. This girl right here, this is what matters. That is it. Anything else, it comes second to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Our focus is to find
53,000 people.
And we are pleading with people out there to give us information, point us in the direction that we need to be, and help us find Gabby. Gabby and her family deserve it. Right now, I'll go ahead and answer a few questions that I can. Go ahead. I have not. Right now, we are investigating the missing person case. No, not at this time. Right now, it's a missing person case. Well, we share the frustration with the world right now. So, you know, 2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned, and that person that returned isn't providing us any information.
Chief, can you bring Brian Laundrie in for him doing the investigation or for stealing Gabby's car?
Right now, no.
Have you guys learned anything from the van or from the phones at all?
Right now, we're still analyzing all that data, which takes time to forensically analyze all that. We look at everything that's coming in. As far as that having to do anything with the disappearance, we don't want. I mean, yes, they had a disturbance. Yes, it was captured on body camera, their interaction with law enforcement. But beyond that, you know, I don't know what it has to do with the disappearance.
Do you guys know what exactly Brian left in his first order? We know he came here on the 1st, but do you know when he left from the West Coast, and if there's any indication that Gabby was with him on the trip back?
Right now, we're analyzing that data, so we don't have that timeline narrowed down. There's a lot of information that we have to go through.
Do you know where Brian Laundrie is right now?
Yes. The family attorney arranged to get us some property that we were looking for, and beyond that, no.
Chief, would you make out that if you last spoke with your daughter on August 30th, or at least on the 40th, your daughter, and then
Everything is being forensically analyzed right now, and it takes time. We don't have any full phone. Requested for who? Oh, I'm sorry, from Nicole's phone, I'm sorry. I don't have the answer to that, as far as that. Right now, it seems to be the area that we're looking at. Right now, this is a missing person case, all right? And our focus is to find Gabby. My focus isn't to bring Brian in right now, it's to find Gabby. Brian is exercising his constitutional rights, and I have to respect that. But as of right now, the focus is finding Gabby. Because the Constitution protects that. We have no physical search teams on the ground like doing grid search right now. We have resources and law enforcement partners that are out in the field following up tips and leads. But as far as a grid search right now, we're still trying to narrow down geographic areas.
Do you know the exact date, like confirmed location that she was?
We're still in
There's been like some say Salt Lake City, some say National Park.
You know, the information is, there's a lot of information coming through. We have to analyze that information, we have to vet that information. It takes time.
Some pictures from her Instagram, no?
No.
Was she on any kind of medication?
Not that I know of.
And was Northport Police aware of her health issues before the law report came out?
I'm not aware of that. No, right now, the data, the stuff that we found in the van is being analyzed. I don't know if it has any addiction or not. Obviously, this was a van used by both of them, which personal belongings and stuff are in there, whether or not that has anything to do with the case.
I understand you're as the attorney, how frustrating is this for you personally?
I want to bring Gabby home. You know, so of course it's frustrating.
How frustrating for you? That's a good question, actually, because I want to, like, can you tell us?
Where's Gabby? That's my response.
No, emotionally for you, as a father, as a human being, talk about what this case is triggering for you.
This isn't about me, this is about Gabby, and that's where I want to keep the focus.
No, I know, but looking at her face, talking with her family, how is this, is that, is this any response from you to?
Well, it's driving us to keep working. I mean, long hours, long days. It gives us the momentum to keep going forward.
Have any of the social media platforms reached out to your agency as part of the investigation, offered up any of the metadata?
We have great cooperation with the social media platforms out there.
How difficult is it as you guys are here, she possibly went missing over there, geographically speaking, how difficult is that for the investigation?
We have partners federally and locally that we can reach out and touch. One of the reasons of asking the assistance of the FBI to come in is they have a long-reaching arm. So I'm confident with what we're doing here and the tips and the information that's being funneled out west. I'm confident that system is moving effectively.
The Petito family said yesterday that what happened in Wyoming happened. It indicates that they know that something did occur in Wyoming and that there's information that we're not aware of or that nothing did arrive. And this is being withheld from me. Do you know what happened in Wyoming? Do you know what they meant?
The fact of the matter is Gabby is missing, and I think that's what they're referring to.
Of course, but
Gabby's
y'all,
missing.
this is a huge investigation. You have internet press from all across the country here, and if there's something that's part of the story that's not being told, I think the public has a duty to understand.
You're looking into something that's not true. I think what the family's position on it was she went missing. The last area was out in Wyoming, so she's not here. So where is she?
So Utah police aren't ruling out, it's really tough to talk about, but they're not ruling out any connection to possible homicide that happened there as well. Have you guys looked into that? Is there anything you can tell us in relation to that?
We have communication going back and forth with Grand County Sheriff's Office. We provided them with whatever information we could. They don't have any suspect information right now, so you would have to refer that to them, but they told us that they're looking at everything at this point.
Kim, one last question.
It's still a missing person case at this point in time, but is there any evidence suggesting that Friday is going to be the person?
Right now, no. Right now, all we have is the missing person investigation on that. Okay.
Really simple question. You said you know where Brian is. Is he on his
All I'm gonna say is I know we're talking to that. All right, thank you guys. Anything we follow up with us, me?
Сушко, ты понимаешь, я ж, по словам директора, ми ж, по словам директора, самі старші, да. И мы должны быть примером для остальных, да. Ты представляешь? Мы умнейшие, да.
Kind of checking out different national parks, documenting it online on social media when she disappeared. The van is in police custody, and they've been going through the van looking for evidence, but what's not happening is they are not speaking to her fiance. And we heard an emotional appeal from her father to everyone, but specifically to her fiance and his family, asking for them to cooperate with the police, help them out. They're considering this a missing persons investigation at this time. But, you know, like the officer said, you know, 2 people went off on this trip and only 1 person came back, and that person's not talking to police. You know, this is a case that certainly sort of gripped the attention of the nation. We are going to, of course, keep covering this, and as soon as we get more information on the case, we'll let you know. For now, though, we're going to take a break. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.
There's not much I can do, so I'm just gonna get views, bro.
The family of a woman who disappeared while on a cross-country road trip with her fiancé is desperately seeking answers today. 22-year-old Gabrielle Petito was reported missing over the weekend. Her last location is believed to have been in Wyoming. Now, police in Florida say her fiancé is back in Northport, Florida, where the couple was living before the trip. Our national correspondent Jerika Duncan spoke to the missing woman's parents and step-parents.
Me and Brian just got up and got ready, made the bed in the tent.
Gabrielle Petito was documenting her cross-country adventure with her 23-year-old fiancé, Brian Laundrie.
Gabby Petito never goes outside.
In late August, their posts slowed down, and so did communication.
It's a nightmare. It's a parent's nightmare.
Gabby's mother, Nicole Schmidt, says she last FaceTimed her daughter on August 23rd or 24th. Around the same time, Gabby made this final Instagram post. Just describe for me what you remembered. Was there anything that stood out?
She seemed fine. She was creating her new YouTube video, and she was getting that posted. She was excited.
Nicole says the final text she received from her daughter's phone was on August 30th. She would not share that message or say whether she believes if it actually came from her daughter. Gabby began her road trip from Long Island, New York on July 2nd after visiting for her brother's graduation. And was that the last time both of you all saw your daughter?
Yes.
That was the last time?
In person, yes.
She is last believed to have been in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming after visiting Utah. The couple was traveling in this white 2012 Ford Transit van, which police recovered in Florida.
So, we are right outside Capitol Reef right now.
The couple has been living in Florida together for about 2 years. According to social media, they got engaged in 2020.
She's a beautiful, free spirit, just wanting to take a journey and have fun while she's young.
Gabby's father and stepmother say they simply want answers.
Coolest chick you ever met. Simple as that. And we need her back home.
We did reach out to Brian Laundrie's attorney, but have not heard back. Police in Florida told us they are processing the couple's van for potential evidence. Gabby Petito is around 5'5" and has several identifiable tattoos, including one on her forearm that says, "Let it be." You know, to see the strength from this family at this time, even the father said, you can't empathize with what we're going through. They just want answers. They just want to know
that their daughter is safe.
Well, it's now become a national story, and I think that's good because the more attention you can get on it, the more likely we are to be able to find her.
Yeah.
But what is Brian saying?
Brian isn't saying anything. He hasn't posted anything recently on his Instagram page. Again, we did reach out to the attorney. We haven't heard back. Perhaps we will soon. But when I asked the parents about, do you think this is suspicious?
Yeah.
Anything about Brian, they said we cannot comment. Yeah.
Wow.
Just awful. She's the oldest of 6.
Oh, God.
So, again, parents just hoping that they will.
Let's all
Life is beginning. We hope she's okay.
Yeah.
All right, Jerika, thank you very much.
It is the case gripping our nation. Where is Gabrielle Petito? She went on a cross-country road trip with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, and she never came back. But he did. He's the last person police believe she was with, and now investigators in Northport are calling Laundrie a person of interest in her disappearance. But he is still not talking. Tonight, a family's desperate search for answers. But first, let's go to Fox 13's Evan Axelbank, who's revealing more about this couple's relationship here and the altercation they had in Utah a few short weeks before Gabby's family last heard from her.
The police chief here is begging the boyfriend's attorney to let them talk to him. He told police in Utah that the two had been fighting after spending so much time on the road together. But as the police chief here points out, 2 left and only 1 came back.
The pictures Gabrielle Petito posted to Instagram August 12th in Arches National Park in Utah show a couple in love. The police report made the same day shows a couple in turmoil. At 4:30 in the afternoon, a witness reported an altercation to Moab police, and officers stopped their van near the national park. Officers wrote Gabrielle was crying uncontrollably and said she was struggling with her mental health. Boyfriend Brian Laundrie told officers she was afraid he was going to leave her in Moab and that she swung at him while he grabbed her face and pushed her back. Officers separated them for the night and didn't file charges, saying nothing rose to the level of assault. Police wrote Brian said the 4 or 5 months on the road together created emotional strain.
We don't know what Brian knows. I mean, that's the bottom line. And we're hopeful to talk to him. He needs to talk to us.
The chief even wrote on Twitter an open invitation to Laundrie's attorney. The home his parents own, only a mile from the police station in Northport, is now surrounded by media, as police say he is the last person they know was with Gabby. But when? Family last heard from her on August 25th, 13 days after the incident Moab police investigated. Police say he got back to Northport September 1st, and that they recovered the truck from the home September 11th. Today she was reported missing.
We really think for the integrity of this investigation that it's important that we not release everything we know when we know it.
Police do say they have collected surveillance video from a number of locations, potentially nationwide. Searches are ongoing in the Grand Tetons, 500 miles north of where police spoke to them in Moab, when they told police they were in love, engaged to be married, and didn't want to see anyone charged with a crime. It was the worst of times, and according to Instagram, the best.
If she's out there, we're doing everything in our power to bring her home. But obviously we have a role to plan for the worst.
Northport police say that there will be a press conference at the police station here tomorrow featuring the FBI and a member of Gabby's family. They say they're doing that to not necessarily announce a break in the case, but to give media here a chance to speak with them. We are awaiting body camera footage of the altercation in Utah. Evan Axelbank, Fox 13 News.
With the new developments in the case of that missing woman from Northport, investigators say Gabby Petito's boyfriend right there, who returned home from a cross-country trip without her, is a person of interest in the case. And Fox 13 has obtained a police report from Utah describing a fight between the couple days before she disappeared. Fox 13's Kimberly Cuisin joining us live from the Northport Police Department. And boy, there are a lot of people all across the country really just hoping and praying this young girl is somewhere and she'll be found.
Yes, Cynthia, there certainly are. You could say that this has really captured the attention of the world. And the Northport Police Department, along with the FBI, quote, all of the reports and social media postings will in fact help. And I want you to take a look at this right here. This is a social media posting, on Twitter from Chief Todd Garrison of the Northport Police Department. Now, Chief down here is very active on Twitter, and he just put out his own plea, calling on Brian Laundrie's family's attorney, Stephen Bertolino, to help find Gabby. He says, quote, please call us to arrange a conversation with Brian Laundrie. 2 people left on a trip and 1 person returned. And really tonight, that's all that anybody wants to do. They want to find Gabby Petito. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. Gabby Petito never goes outside. As 22-year-old Gabby Petito and her boyfriend, 23-year-old Brian Laundrie, set out across the country in this van, documenting their trip and experiences. But it's become a mystery, and Northport police want to solve it.
We're doing everything we can to bring her home safely, or potentially hold anybody responsible for hurting her accountable.
Gabby Petito's family last heard from her at the end of August. They believe she was in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. As communication from Gabby went silent, Northport police say Brian Laundrie returned home to Northport without Gabby on September 1st. 10 days later, after being unable to reach her, family members in New York reported her missing.
We are concerned, and we're working as quick as we can.
As Northport police investigate, details from an incident involving the couple in Moab, Utah have been released. On August 12th, a witness reported a domestic problem between parties identified as Gabby and Brian. Brian told officers time spent together on their journey created an emotional strain between the pair and increased their arguments. According to the report, Gabby went into a manic state, fearing he would leave her behind, and slapped him. Officers separated the pair for the night, and no charges were filed. 13 days later, Gabby would go silent, and Brian and his family would lawyer up.
I think we're just pleading with him at this point to please speak with us. We need to understand those details. You know, they put out a release yesterday saying they remain in the background. That is not good enough. We need the details.
And the Northport Police Department here is now the lead agency investigating this case along with the FBI. Now, there is a tip line that has been set up to funnel all those tips in from across the country. Phone number is right there on your TV screen. It's 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, 1-800-CALL-FBI if you have any tips or you may know where Gabby may be. Cynthia, back to you.
Yeah, let's hope they get just the exact tip they need to break this case. That's for sure. Thank you, Kimberly.
Calling on for them to be able to know what their employees are doing before they walk through the door. Calling for vaccine or test requirements to enter big venues. And a whole series of steps I propose to protect our kids in schools. Wall Street firms have analyzed the impact of these plans, and they're projecting these new requirements will help 12 million more Americans get vaccinated, which will help more businesses stay open and more Americans back to work. The data shows the overwhelming majority of Americans agree with my proposal. That's no surprise, given that 76% of American adults have already gotten at least one shot. But we're facing a lot of pushback, especially from some of the Republican governors. The governors of Florida and Texas are doing everything they can to undermine the life-saving requirements that I propose. And some of the same governors attacking me are in states with the strictest vaccine mandates for children attending school in the entire country. For example, in Mississippi, children are required to be vaccinated against measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, hepatitis B, polio, tetanus, and more. These are state requirements. But in the midst of the pandemic that has already taken over 660,000 lives, I propose a requirement for COVID vaccines and And the governor of that state calls it, quote, a tyrannical type move. A tyrannical type move. This is the worst kind of politics, because it's putting the lives of citizens of their states, especially children, at risk. And I refuse to give in to it. These policies are what the science tells us we need to do. They're going to save lives. They'll protect our economic recovery as well and allow the economy to continue to grow. We're also going after the bad actors and pandemic profiteers in our economy. There's lots of evidence that gas prices should be going down, but they haven't. Taking a close look at that. Taxpayers in this country also have paid for extraordinary effort to keep our country going over the past year or so. Unlike the last administration, which resisted oversight and allowed taxpayers to be victimized by fraud, we're working hard to protect vulnerable Americans from having their identity stolen. As a consequence, their unemployment checks stolen as well. And we're going to offer organized criminals, we're going to go after organized criminals that defraud America or misuse COVID funds. Look, we're also taking a closer look at places in our economy where fewer and fewer corporate giants are controlling more and more of the marketplace in the area they work. Just look at agriculture and the food industry. A very small number of giant corporations now dominate the market, which gives them the ability to drive our prices because they face so little competition. As we work to build healthier competition in our economy, crack down on bad actors, the American Rescue Plan, which we passed in March, is still working to give hard-working Americans, hard-working people some relief. One of the best examples of that relief is the expansion of the child tax credit, which in effect is essentially a historic tax cut for families with children. Just yesterday, 39 million working moms and dads got their direct payment. That money is going to help cover groceries, mortgage, new pairs of shoes, all the things that kids need. It's a tax cut for working families. So, we're working to provide as much relief as we can right now to American families, but here's the truth. Yes, the pandemic has caused a lot of economic problems in the country, but the fact is our economy faced challenges long before this pandemic struck. Working people were struggling to make it long before the pandemic arrived. Big corporations and the very wealthy were doing very well before the pandemic. That's why I've said, starting back in my campaign for president, that it's not enough to just build back. We have to build back better than before. And that's how it all begins. Big corporations and the super wealthy have to start paying their fair share of taxes. It's long overdue. I'm not out to punish anyone. I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 million or $1 billion, that's great. God bless you. All I'm asking is you pay your fair share. Pay your fair share. Just like middle class folks do. That isn't happening now. Today in this country right now, the top 1%, for example, evade an estimated $160 billion in taxes that they owe each year. Not new taxes, taxes that they owe. And the way it works is this. If you're a typical American, like I suspect most of the press people sitting in front of me here, you pay your taxes. Why? Because you get a W-2 form. It comes in the mail every year. The IRS gets that information as well. Taxes get deducted from your paycheck, and you pay what is owed beyond that. That's why 99% of working people pay the taxes they owe. But that's not how it works for people with tens of millions of dollars. They play by a different set of rules, and they're often not employees themselves. So the IRS can't see what they make and can't tell if they're cheating. That's how many of the top 1% get away with paying virtually nothing. It's estimated by serious economists that that number is about $160 billion collectively owed each year that don't get paid. It's not an even playing field. My plan would help solve that. For example, it give the IRS the resources it needs to keep up with the lawyers and accountants and the super wealthy. It would ask just for 2 pieces of information from the banks of these folks. That amounts that come into their bank accounts and what amounts go out of their bank accounts. So that the wealthy can no longer hide what they're making. And they can finally begin to pay their fair share of what they owe. That isn't about raising their taxes. It's about the super wealthy finally beginning to pay what they owe, what the existing tax code calls for. Just like hardworking Americans do all over this country every tax day. Look, and like I said just a few minutes ago, 55 of the most profitable corporations in America pay 0 in federal income taxes on what amounted to $40 billion in profit. Not a penny. That's not right. My economic plan will change that. Not punish anybody, just make you pay your fair share. But my Republican friends in Congress don't want to change it. So, what are they doing? They're attacking me and my plan, which is fine. If we're going to have a debate, let's have an honest debate. My Republican friends are attacking my plan, saying it's big spending. Let me remind you, these are the same folks who just 4 years ago passed the Trump tax cut, totaling almost $2 trillion in tax cuts. A giant giveaway to the largest corporations in the top 1%. And listen to this, almost none of that $2 trillion tax cut was paid for. It just ballooned the federal deficit. In fact, the unpaid bills racked up by the last administration are projected to increase the national debt by more than $8 trillion by time. What I'm proposing is totally different from that approach for 3 reasons. First, my plan is paid for. It's fiscally responsible. Because our investments are paid for by making sure that corporations and wealthy Americans pay their fair share. Second, we're not going to raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. That's a lot of money. Some of my liberal friends are saying it should be lower than that. But only corporations and people making over $400,000 a year are going to pay an additional tax. And third, not only will no one making under $400,000 see their taxes go up, the middle class are going to get some tax cuts, some breaks. My plan benefits ordinary Americans, not those at the top who don't need the help. It's a historic middle class tax cut, cutting taxes for over 50 million families. My Republican friends are making a different choice though. They'd rather protect the tax breaks of those at the very top and give tax breaks to working families. It's that simple. Let me ask you this. Where is it written? All the tax breaks of American tax code go to corporations in the very top. I think it's enough entirely. For me, it's pretty simple. It's about time working people got the tax breaks in this country. That's what my plan does. But here's what it also does. By asking big corporations and the very wealthy to pay their fair share, it makes it possible to invest in America, to invest in the American people. According to leading economists, forecasters like Moody's and major international financial institutions, my plan will make us create jobs, make us more competitive, and grow our economy and lessen, not increase, inflationary pressure. I don't know if it's been handed out today, but by the way, 15 Nobel laureates in economics released a letter yesterday arguing that exact same point. They said, and I quote, this is from 15 Nobel laureates in economics, quote, because this agenda, the one I'm talking about, mine, because this agenda invests in long-term economic capacity and will enhance the ability of more Americans to participate productively in the economy. It will ease long-term inflationary pressures. It will ease it. Let me highlight just a few provisions of my plan. I know this is long and I apologize, but it's important, I think. My plan lowers the cost of daycare and and child care and elder care for families. And the added benefit of allowing millions of people, mostly women, who are not able to go back to work because of very young family members or elderly people they're taking care of. Allow them to go back to work. It's estimated in the millions can't come back. It lowers health care premiums for millions of families. It lowers prescription drug costs by giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower drug prices. And it strengthens Medicare by adding dental, vision, and hearing coverage if you're on Medicare. It also extends a tax cut for families with kids that we passed in the American Rescue Plan in March. All of this will mean thousands of dollars in savings for the average American family on some of the toughest and most important bills they have to pay every month. Our Republican friends talk about inflation. They want to talk about tax relief across the board.
It's not good, bro. You gotta cut this like right off. Yeah, it's gonna escalate from here on. I know how it works. Been proven a million times. Been proven my time a billion times, man.
Deadly toll from flooding in the north. Inches of rain, with inches of rain in some areas. More than 5 million acres of our lands and communities burned to the ground in wildfires just this year alone. That's more than the size of the entire state of New Jersey burned to the ground. When I was out in California, I flew over some of these areas. In addition, there's a severe drought west.
Słuchaj. Верни мені мій окей Google.
Code red out there for the nation. You can't
Як його встановити?
Extreme weather just last year
Алло.
cost the American public $99 billion in damage. $99 billion in damage last year. And unfortunately, we're likely to break that record this year. And the evidence is overwhelming. That every dollar we invest in resilience saves $6 down the road. And the next fire doesn't spread as widely, or the power station holds up against a storm. We need to rebuild with resilience in mind, so roads are built higher, levees are built made more stronger, transmission lines are better protected, and so much more. You know, I hope we're past the days. Now we have to act. We have to act fast. My plan does that. Let me end with this. This pandemic got off for so many reasons. We lost life instead of 660,000. Jobs, businesses lost time in school for our kids. But it does present us with an opportunity. We can build an economy that gives working people a fair shot this time. We can restore some sanity and fairness to our tax code. We can make the investments that we know are long overdue. That's exactly what my bipartisan infrastructure plan does. I should say our bipartisan infrastructure plan does. Investments in roads, bridges, highways, clean water in every home and every school, universal broadband, quality affordable places for families to live. And we can invest in our people, giving our families a little help with their toughest expenses like daycare, child care, elder care, prescription drugs, health care, preparing young people to compete against any country in the world at preschool, community college. We can confront this crisis of extreme weather and climate change and not only protect our communities but create new opportunities, new industries.
Що?
Слухай.
Окей Google, где найти?
Кого это?
nation where all
Google, окей, ассистента.
and they share the benefits
Ina, він тобі не треба, Іна.
in the years ahead. Let's not squander this moment. Trying to fulfill the
Мені нічого не треба.
too often Americans for a long time.
Кого?
Let's not look backwards. Just trying to refill what we have. Let's look forward together as one America. Not to build back, but to build back better. Thank you all very much. Bless you all. May God protect our children. Thank you.
What?
Окей, Google.
This is crazy. She just leaves. Can he do that? Technically, maybe.
And Gabby's family is calling her boyfriend's silence, quote, reprehensible and selfish. This is a statement tonight released following the developments out of Northport. They accuse Brian Laundrie of leaving her in the wilderness while he, quote, sits in the comfort of his home. Let's go now to Fox 13's Justin Matthews, who's live in Tampa. And Justin, Gabby's father and stepfather, they spoke with Fox News today. Tell us what they had to say.
Hey, Kelly, or Gabby's family are just hoping that someone recognizes her from her pictures. Before 22-year-old Gabby Petito was reported missing, her father says she was doing one of her favorite things, going on adventures.
Gabby always wanted to, travel and see the amazing sights, and she's doing it, and that's awesome to see.
Joe Petito says while they may have lived hundreds of miles apart, he was able to spend some time with Laundrie, but says he wishes he knew him better.
I was living in New York, and they were down in Florida, so not as well as I would like to, but there still weren't any red flags that would indicate we would be here today.
Laundrie is home now, and Gabby is nowhere to be found.
My daughter is not here. Our daughter is not here. We don't even know where she is, what state she's in. We're shooting from the hip here and trying to do what we can.
Gabby's family says the last time she texted her mom, she said she was heading to Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. To help law enforcement with the investigation in any way they can, Gabby's stepfather, Jim Schmidt, arrived in Jackson, Wyoming late Tuesday night.
Right now, the police are doing everything they can, and that's all we can rely on right now is that all these law enforcement agencies are working together collectively, and they're doing their best to find out what happened, where she is.
In the meantime, Gabby's family hopes everyone pays close attention to her pictures.
You need to look at Gabby, memorize her face, memorize the tattoos.
For as investigators are continuing to find answers tonight, someone sees and recognizes Gabby. Kelly?
We hope they do. Somebody does, and I know a lot of people working in that to get this resolved and that she is brought home safely. All right, thank you so much, Justin. Well, the FBI has set up a national tip hotline too, and that's what they want all the phone calls, all the tips to go this direction. It's on your screen, 1-800-225-5324. You can also submit tips online at tips.fbi.gov. And we will, of course, continue to follow the latest in the search for Gabby. And we'll bring you tomorrow's press conference from Northport live on air and on our Facebook page.
Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, breaking overnight, landfall. Nicholas slams the Gulf Coast as a Category 1 hurricane, bringing heavy rain and fierce winds and leaving tens of thousands of people without power. But could this be like Ida, bringing deadly flooding to some areas? We're tracking the storm's
Nicholas.
path.
Come on.
Election day, Californians heading to the polls to vote in today's consequential recall election as President Biden takes aim at Governor Gavin Newsom's top Republican challenger.
He's a clone of Donald Trump. Can you imagine him being governor of this state? You can't let that happen.
Why the president says the outcome of this race will have a lasting impact not only on the state or the nation, but possibly the world. And we'll have a closer look at that main Republican challenger. Tough fight. Hollywood legend Jeff Bridges opens up about coming down with COVID-19 while undergoing cancer treatment. What the dude himself had to say about his experience and the positive prognosis after spending 5 weeks in the hospital.
Gabby, never goes outside.
I was just alerted to a new case. A missing woman. She disappeared after a road trip with her boyfriend. And it's interesting because they were going across the country. Her name is Gabby Petito. She's 22 years old. And she was with her boyfriend in a converted camper. They took off in early July to tour the national parks. But she disappeared in late August, according to her family. They haven't heard from her in more than 2 weeks. Welcome to Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine. Nicole Schmidt is Gabby's mom, Gabby Petito. She explained to the news that the last time she actually spoke with her daughter, Gabby, was on August 25th. Now, in the background, I am playing a YouTube video that was solely made by Gabby and her boyfriend for this road trip. So you can see her. There's one little part, and I will point that out, that appears that maybe she has a swollen eye or a black eye. I'm not sure. Her mother says that she doesn't know if she actually left Grand Teton or not. She said she received a text from Gabby on the 27th and on the 30th, but did not speak verbally with her, so she can't be sure that it was actually Gabby that she was talking to. She said that her and her boyfriend, Gabby and her boyfriend, started their road trip in early July. They were going from Florida to New York, and then they left New York, and they eventually got to Salt Lake City, Utah in August. But they were leaving the city because of the wildfires. There's been a lot of wildfires out west here. They stopped in Grand Teton National Park on August 25th, 2021, and that would be her last known location. And they planned a trip next to Yellowstone. They were traveling in a van, a converted van. It was a 2012 Ford white van that had been converted into a camper. And when you see these pictures, it looks like she fixed it up really cute, very homey. She seems very happy. But her mother does say, I can't say much, but she's no longer with the van. The van has been located, so she doesn't want people looking for the van, but for her daughter. The detectives from her Suffolk County Police Department in New York, Petito's hometown, are the ones investigating her disappearance. And like I said, the couple, they did start a YouTube channel by the name of Nomadic Static. And I will put the link to their YouTube channel below. You can see there's plenty of comments on there as well. Now, they said in the most recent article that they could not reach her boyfriend. or comment, which would have been today. She's 5'5" and has blonde hair and blue eyes. She has a triangle tattoo with flowers on her left arm and a Let It Be, like Beatles' Let It Be, tattoo on her right arm. If you have seen her or know any information, they want you to contact the Suffolk County Police Department at 1-800-220-8477.
Hello, and good morning. It is really nice and sunny today. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but it rained all afternoon yesterday. Cat is just coming in on me. The wind is so bad. I've just been sitting here like this for a while. So me and Brian just got up and got ready, made the bed in the tent, set up. I think our plan for today is to just hang out here in the tent. Brian's stretching, doing some morning yoga. All the chocolate melted.
It's a river of chocolate.
You can't keep chocolate in Utah. Not in July. Or in a clear glass container that is always in the sun. I love the band.
So, we are right outside Capitol Reef right now in a free dispersed camp spot. And we've been lucky so far at all the places we've stayed, but I'd say this is one of the best so far. Since we left New York, I've only set up my hammock once, and now we're all the way in Utah, and luckily enough, I was able to set up my hammock in one of these trees.
And we're kind of like in the desert.
Very few trees.
The missing poster for Gabby says last known to be in Grand Teton, Wyoming on August 25th, 2021, heading for Yellowstone. She's 22 years old, 5'5", blonde hair, blue eyes, triangle tattoo on the left arm with flowers, Let It Be tattoo written on her right arm, belly button piercing, and last known to be in a 2012 Ford White Transit van traveling north. Anyone with information should contact. And this is a Facebook page that has been set up for Gabby. It's called Gabby Petito Vanished Discussion Group. Her father is Joseph Petito, and there's a link here, but he does not have he's a sales manager at the Home Depot, and lives in Vero Beach, Florida, and also from Selden, New York. Her stepmother's name is Tara Whitman Petito. She's also not a member of the group. And on her main Facebook profile, it says she lives in Selden, New York. Breaking news, the Suffolk County Police Department in New York is confirming the search for missing Gabby. Police say Gabby went missing while traveling through Utah and Wyoming. Detectives are asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS. All calls can remain anonymous. Find it very interesting that we're not hearing anything about the boyfriend. What's going on there? Update Sunday evening from KSL Television in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Suffolk County Police Department in New York is confirming their search. It just goes on, says the exact same thing over and over. It talks about her height and her blonde hair. And the mom has posted, my daughter Gabby is missing, please share. There's a picture here, well, I will put on the thumbnail and put up of her and the boyfriend. They seem pretty happy on the trip, but, you know, there's editing. There is some in the comment section that I'm finding. There is a comment that says from her father's page that she was last physically seen on August 24th when she checked out of a hotel with her boyfriend, Salt Lake City, Utah. He has since returned home and retained a lawyer and is uncooperative currently. So there you go. There's the answer about boyfriend. So he did return home with the van and he has an attorney. And someone says his name is Brian Laundrie. Laundrie. So this is a new one, and that's all I got for you right now, but I thought it's really interesting that they had a Utah channel and they documented all this, and then she just went missing. Pretty bizarre. Let's put our heads together. Thank you for watching Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail, and today's case is very recent. This was just reported in the news. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this because we've been talking about it through some of the comments, and this is regarding the whereabouts of Gabby Petito. Gabrielle is her full name, but she goes by Gabby. And I just want to remind everybody that, you know, the burden of guilt in this country is based on proof and evidence, so I'm just going to give you guys the facts, what we know right now, some background information, because, you know, her family is desperate for answers, and I would be too. I mean, this is very, very bizarre case. So Gabby is 22 years old. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes. She's roughly 5'5", and she is from Northport, Florida. And she and her boyfriend were taking a trip. They drove from Northport to New York around the beginning of July. And what they had done was they had bought a camper, or a van, excuse me, and they had converted that van, which is pictured here. This is the actual van. They converted this into a camper. And apparently they had both worked on it prior to going on their trip. They were, you know, this is what the inside looks like. So they outfitted it with a bed, you know, a little mini kitchen, storage area. Yeah, it looks pretty cozy. On July 2nd, they left New York and headed west towards Colorado, where they explored the various parks there, Rocky Mountain and various, you know, mountainous areas, and then they went down to Utah. Now, one of the very interesting and different aspects of this case is that this whole trip was very well documented on social media. In fact, you can still go and look at Gabby's Instagram. She also has a YouTube channel. I'll have links to whatever I can in the description. But she documented all of this with both pictures and pictures of her and her boyfriend, videos as well. So they spent several weeks in Utah visiting the Mystic Hot Springs, Canyonland National Park, Arches National Park, and Zion National Park. In one of her posts, she quotes, We walked just a little past the arch where the rock is at such an angle it appears impossible to walk on, but being such experienced hikers, she had confidence that I could make it. The post read in part, many people who spotted us were contemplating how we made it up there, shouting things like, "Wow, you guys must be crazy." So at this point, it seemed like they were having fun and just enjoying their time going through these parks, and they are amazing parks. So if it's your first time, they are exhilarating. Now, this is a brief map of their itinerary and their spots, and we're going to cover this, and I'll put this map up again so you can see. So after spending weeks in the Utah area, or the south of Utah, they headed north to Salt Lake City. Now, this is where it seems like trouble started because she was last seen checking out of a hotel in Salt Lake City on August 24th. That was the last time anyone actually physically saw her. Now, on the 25th, her mom said that she got a text and a call from her, and Gabby said that they were on their way to Wyoming and on their way to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons. Unfortunately, a little over 2 months after starting this trip on September 11th, Gabby's mom reported her missing because she said that she did talk to her on August 25th. However, Gabby was very, very good at communicating. She said that her daughter calls her mother 3 to 4 times every week, and she hadn't heard from her since the 25th. Her mother also states that she isn't even sure if the text that she got from her daughter on the 25th was in fact Gabby sending that text. Gabby is considered to be a free spirit. She's just very friendly, outgoing. She has this tattoo of "Let It Be" on her arm. She has a tattoo of a butterfly on her other arm. And this is where things got even weirder because the police started investigating this and they found the van at her boyfriend's home, Brian Lundry. And apparently he's been very reluctant to cooperate. I think from what I understand in these reports, he got a lawyer right away, and the police did seize the van, and they are processing it for forensic evidence, fingerprints, any evidentiary value that they think might be helpful. They're continuing to try and piece things together, but it's just a very odd situation. Like, they were taking this trip together, and then all of a sudden, the van is back at the home of the boyfriend, thousands of miles away, and without Gabby. I mean, these two hadn't just gotten together, they had attended high school together, and then later in life, they rekindled their relationship, and apparently they had been living in Florida together for 2.5 years. So I just find, even if he didn't do anything, I find his actions very suspicious. I mean, if you've been on this trip with, the love of your life and your girlfriend, and you guys had planned this, and somehow you got separated, I mean, the first thing you do is let her parents know, contact the authorities. I mean, why would you just drive home and park the van and not say anything? Because really this didn't come about until the mom reported Gabby missing, and then the police went over to his house, obviously, and that's where they found the van, which is a white 2012 Ford Transit with a license plate QFTG03. So if anyone saw them or saw that van and has any information, I'll have more information on who to call later on and in the description. But apparently these two were engaged. Now, the family wouldn't confirm or deny that they were engaged, but in many reports that I read, they were engaged or are engaged. So I don't know. It's just very bizarre, this whole case. I just don't understand how you can be on this, awesome trip where you're exploring, and then all of a sudden one of them is just not there. This is the last picture that she posted of herself. And here again, this, in my opinion, raises red flags because she was posting a lot about this trip, posting pictures, videos, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Now, of course, since this has crossed state lines, both the Sarasota police, the FBI, and other agencies are involved in this investigation because it's basically a nationwide investigation. They started out in Florida, then went to New York, Colorado, Utah, and it's really impossible to say when they split up unless the boyfriend starts talking. And I also find that bizarre that he won't say anything to the police. I mean, you'd think that someone that's a loved one that cares about you would want to, help find the person. And I'm not here to point fingers or anything, but personally, I just find that very bizarre. And the way I understand it, he hasn't been talking since the beginning. I mean, he lawyered up right away, and I know, sometimes parents can be very protective. Maybe it's his parents that are doing this and keeping him from talking, but I don't know. If it was me, I would find a way. I just don't understand this at all. And I mean, can you imagine what Gabby's parents are going through? I saw a news report with them, and I mean, they're just so devastated, and I just can't imagine. I mean, here, your daughter goes off for this trip of a lifetime, and it turns into, you know, a nightmare. I'm just hoping that, you know, maybe they just got into an argument and she's off somewhere. But again, there's just so many things that aren't adding up. The police are doing everything they can to try and figure this out. They do have the car in Northport, and they're actively gathering all the details and evidence they can and processing it and interviewing as many people as they can that will talk. Authorities are asking if you do have any information about this case to please contact the police at 941-429-7382 or contact your local FBI office. Obviously, the family is desperate for answers and are asking for the public's help to please share her flyer and please keep your eyes open. And if anybody has any information, to please get in touch with the proper authorities. And my thoughts and prayers go out to this family, and I'm just praying that they can find Gabby and that she is just out there maybe on her own and decided to do her own thing. And I also hope that her boyfriend will start talking to the police and cooperating. I will have links in the description with Gabby's missing flyer, and the Aware Foundation here in Virginia has already posted one and made a great flyer for her. I'll have a link to that for you. So let's everyone come together and share this story as much as you can, and share Gabby's picture and her missing flyer, and let's help bring Gabby home safe to her parents. I want to thank everybody for watching as always, and please be respectful in the comments. I mean, this is a real family going through a real traumatic situation, and they just want to find their daughter. I want to say thank you to co.ag for providing the background music as always, and thank you for everyone that brought this information to my case in the comment section, and please continue to do so. I have people that work in different SAR groups that send me information, but I really need information from you guys too. It really helps to get the word out fast and spread this news so that we have better chances of actually finding these people safe and bringing them home to their loved ones. I will see everybody in the next one. Take care.
Well, yesterday we were not the lead agency in this case, so as things have evolved, I think we're now at a comfortable level. I think there are things that we know in this investigation that we're trying not to release. I know you guys are all doing your best to get some of that info, but we really think for the integrity of this investigation that it's important that we not release everything we know when we know it. It just made more sense. The family, first of all, the agency in Suffolk County has been fantastic. No issues there. This was just a situation where that happened to be where the family reported Gabby missing, and the fact that the van is here and both of these people that are surrounded in this case are Northport residents, so it just made more sense. We definitely processed that vehicle yesterday with the FBI. Certainly, there was some material in there that we'll be going through. I don't know that we're at a situation of releasing all those details. I think everybody in this country apparently is concerned for Gabby's well-being. We certainly have had an abundance of media attention from across this country, every major news network. I mean, it's not too often we have 15, 20 cameras and reporters sitting out in front of the Northport Police Department. So, yes, I think the answer is we are concerned, and we're working as quick as we can to get a resolution to that. Yeah, I think we can all make it.
Alicia?
Come up with an idea of what that means. I don't know that we're at the point of solidifying anything. We don't know what Brian knows. I mean, that's the bottom line. And we're hopeful to
talk to him. He needs to talk to us. We need to know exactly where he was, where she was, their last locations, and the fact that he was back here for 10 days. There was, again, the family reported her missing 10 days later. Let's spread it around. Yes. There is currently no search warrant on the home of Brian's parents. Correct. The vehicle was found at Brian's parents' home where Brian and Gabby reside. I don't know. It's minute by minute. At the moment, no, I do not. I think most people would come to that conclusion in this case. He was the last known person that we have information was around her. How you define person of interest is up to you, but certainly we are interested in talking with him. One at a time. Who's gone? You've gone. Okay, so here's the situation that happened. We went to the door Saturday night. We asked to speak with Brian and his family, and we were essentially handed the information for their attorney. That is the extent of our conversation with them. It's my understanding we have had some conversations with his attorney, but certainly nothing to the level of providing us the details that we would like. Well, look, we all have rights in this country. We all have the Fifth Amendment right. We're hoping that people just do the right thing. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of information on that. I know that there was an incident in Utah prior to this. That could potentially be some information we'll have later today. Again, I don't know. I've heard that theory. I am unaware of us linking that at this point to that. And what extent of information has the lawyer provided? I don't have those details. That is something that we are wanting to work with, for sure. We've got detectives working around the clock with the FBI, using every technological resource known to man. So I don't know if that answered the question. But that was because of you guys. The neighbors have certainly been inundated by the media. I think that they have had numerous people knock on their door and drive in their yard, so I respectfully ask you to, I understand you have a job to do, and we certainly respect that, but obviously people there are being impacted. Sure. Well, we now have this new tip line that we're just want everything to funnel through, so 1-800-CALL-FBI, that's what we're hoping for. That will really help us streamline things. I know in the past we've had some FBI connection and a Suffolk County Police Department connection, but now we're really hoping to use this one particular tip line. The FBI can help us vet. As you can imagine, we get a lot of goofy phone calls and stuff like that that really aren't helpful, that really send us down some rabbit holes that are just a waste of our time. So I really hope that if you have something viable, to reach out to us. I'm unaware of that. And is there anything you're open to force him to talk, like such as seeking an arrest warrant, taking him into custody? Are you close to that? I think we're just pleading with him at this point to please speak with us. We need to understand those details. They put out a release yesterday saying they remain in the background. That is not good enough. We need the details. As far as doing what? I mean, we all have the Fifth Amendment right in this country not to speak. Anything under the law that we are capable and able to do to try to get information, whether it be through Brian or anyone else, we will do. Been two at one time, yes, ma'am. We do not
a search that we have organized in Wyoming. It is my understanding that the family themselves from New York has flown to Wyoming. I cannot confirm that they're doing their own search. I have heard that. I believe that to be true, but I cannot confirm that. Well, 1 second. We got this man. The van is in her name. So as far as insurance-wise, that has not been a conversation that I've had. Certainly the fact that it was in her possession, I mean, I don't know that any of us are currently worried about a stolen vehicle charge. We're trying to get to the bottom of this. I do not have knowledge of that, ma'am. Right. I think with every minute, more details come in, more things are worked on. You know, I can tell you right now, we do not have, you know, a definitive answer here, but they are working on it. I think every day, you know, some of this technology takes time. I think some requests through, you know, whether it be bank statements or app usage or whatever, some of those issues take time. Thankfully, the FBI is helpful for us in this and probably speeding some of that up. Absolutely. You know, we have to do that for ourselves, but more importantly for the family. We want them to understand that if she's out there, we're doing everything in our power to bring her home. But obviously, we have a role to you know, plan for the worst. Yeah, I mean, that van was processed less than 12 hours ago as far as with the FBI. The inside, you know, we did a cursory search of it on the outside when we initially got that van on Saturday, but wanted to make sure that we only get one shot at some of these things. So we did it professionally and appropriately. So certainly not to the level of we're ready to come out here and speak with you all on it.
I knew it. TikTok can always confirm.
We'll use everything. Tolls, highway cameras, gas station surveillance cameras, tips, cell phone usage, financials, whatever. Oh, I can tell you that we have received some video footage from different times. Whether that is helpful, I don't know. I cannot. The Suffolk County Police Department, yes. And again, I want to be clear, and this isn't necessarily important for your story, but this was not a matter of taking over control. This was just what made sense. That, I can tell you that we were initially made aware of that by the media this morning, and we are looking into that. That was, to my knowledge, that was not something that...
It's down.
Okay? He is. Correct. We've been provided one name and one phone number. Not to my knowledge. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Breaking news on WFMI now. Here's JB Buno.
An update on the disappearance of Gabby Petito. The missing woman's fiance, Brian Laundrie, has officially been named a person of interest after the couple went on a cross-country road trip together, with Laundrie coming home to Florida and Gabby mysteriously vanishing on the road. Hey there, folks. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. You just heard it there from Northport Police. An update here, and we've got some new nuggets of information here to pass along to you for those of you who maybe caught the tail end of the press conference. We're going to recap all of what we have done here, but most significantly, we can now say that Brian Laundrie, the man who went on a cross-country road trip with Gabby Petito, 22 years of age from Northport, Florida, the two going on a cross-country road trip together. He came home with her van. She still missing at this time. So, Aid on your side, you're here with us, and Justin, you've been monitoring the story very closely.
Yes, we have JB. Obviously, the headline today is Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito's fiance, has been named a person of interest in this case. We just heard a plea from the spokesperson from Northport Police, which has now become the lead agency in this investigation, taking over for Suffolk County Police in New York. They are pleading with Brian Laundrie to come forward and speak with them, that he is hindering their investigation to try to figure out what happened and where is missing Gabby Petito. So a lot to go through, JB. We learned today from Northport Police that Mr. Laundrie returned to Northport, Florida on September 1st. That is 10 days before the family reported her missing to the police department up there in New York. We also know the van, that white van, they were traversing the country and they called their trip Van Life. That is in possession of police, and with the help of the FBI, they have processed that white travel van looking for any evidence in this case. But again, my main takeaway, JB, is Northport Police want to speak with this man. Her fiance, we know she had moved down here about 2 years ago in this relationship, and basically, Brian Laundrie's family said, here's our attorney's number in New York, you go call him, we're not saying anything else, and clearly, Northport Police want to speak with him ASAP to figure out what he knows about her last whereabouts during their trip out west.
Again, you can find the latest on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, the latest on the search for Gabby Petito. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can click on the link in the description on this video in the pinned comment below. We're going to stay here with you live, but if you want to read it for yourself, the latest, or maybe you're finding us a little bit after the live stream concluded, you can read the latest by clicking on the link. WFLA.com, WFLA's app will have the very latest throughout every hour here on the search for Gabby Petito, as this is now really officially, it's been now a national news story.
Oh, yeah.
This has spanned multiple states. Of course, we were talking yesterday about how the social media trail of breadcrumbs went cold near Grand Teton National Park. That's in Wyoming. That's where, and I remember now, Gabby and Brian were posting on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram. They were posting on this fun cross-country road trip. Pretty much everywhere they went, they were making posts. And then it all of a sudden stops
So we know
near Wyoming.
We know, JB, yesterday I spoke with her father, Joseph Petito, who lives in Vero Beach. He told me the last day he FaceTimed with his daughter was on August 21st. Her mother, you see there, had the emotional press conference the other day back in Long Island, New York. She says the last time she spoke with her daughter is August 25th. We're now looking at a window between August 25th and September 1st when police say Brian Laundrie in that van, which was registered to her, returned here to Florida. I want to read to our viewers. This is the exact quote from Northport Police Chief Todd Garrison, and I quote, "As a father, I can imagine the pain and suffering Gabby's family is going through. We're pleading with anyone, including Brian, to share information with us on her whereabouts in the past few weeks. The lack of information from Brian is hindering this investigation. The answers will eventually come out. We will help find Gabby. We will help find anyone who may be involved in her disappearance." Again, those are the words of Northport Police Chief Todd Garrison. Again, just heard the beginning of the stream from his department spokesperson, Josh Taylor, again saying that this fiance is not cooperating at this point. We know the family yesterday, JB, put out a strong statement saying he needs to come forward and answer some questions to help the authorities try to track her down.
Now, you spoke to the parents. Is that what this clip is that we're about to air? Okay.
So let me just set this up. Yesterday we got a statement from Brian Laundrie's family basically saying that this is a difficult situation for their family, that they're going to step back and just, basically not cooperate, is what the statement basically said. This is, the beginning of this clip is Joseph Petito responding to that statement and some more of his pleas for the public to help bring his daughter home.
Back in 60 seconds.
How can you keep her location hidden?
And again, JB, at this point, police say they have no evidence of a crime. This is still considered a missing person case. Brian Laundrie now a person of interest, but not been named a suspect. But again, he is the person that detectives in Northport, Florida want to speak with as soon as possible. But again, his family has referred them to their attorney back in New York. One of the questions of the news conference was, has this family retained any counsel here in Florida?
You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged and were planning to spend their lives together. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is for Gabby to come home. Please help us make that happen. And that was from Jim Schmidt, Nicole Schmidt, Joe Petito, and Kara Petito. At this time, I'll take some questions. The family's not going to discuss any facts or anything to do with the relationship between Gabby and Brian. They were asked by the FBI to not discuss that. Listen, the family is devastated. Every day that this goes on, they get more and more desperate. They're at the point that desperation is turning to anger. They know that the Landrys know where their daughter is, and they will not tell them. That's infuriating. Yes. I'm not going to talk about what the FBI is doing and what their investigation is. All I know is that the FBI and the law enforcement agencies that are handling this are the best in the country, and I'm sure they're doing a great job. I know they reached out on Friday the 10th, and I believe again the 11th, and the Laundries refused to answer those. They stayed silent. And as you know from the Northport Police Department's press conference, I think it was yesterday, that Brian was back in Northport, Florida on September 1st. So that was over a week later. And I will not. I know they were out here. Gabby's brother had a graduation from a local high school, from their school, and she came up for that to spend time with their family. And then I believe on July 2nd, they began their trip. I'm sorry. I'm not going to discuss when they became aware of the video.
What are you gonna discuss then? Stupid ass, bro. Why are you even coming out and talking about any crap if you don't even say anything? That's was like the worst thing. Like, say what you know, you stupid ass.
Jim Schmidt is out in Wyoming, as you guys know. He felt he needed to be there. We have family in New York and in Florida, and he felt he needed to be out there to be the contact person as well as to do what he can out in Wyoming. I'm not going to get into specifics what he's doing, but again, the whole Petito and Schmidt family is doing everything they can to find Gabby. We don't know anything about that. Again, I'm not going to comment on what the police are doing. I know they're doing a great job. And I just hope everyone, again, pulls together and helps us find Gabby. And again, from what I've been seeing for the last few days, everyone is doing that, but Brian and his family.
With regard to the questions we were asking about ADD knives, the mental OCD and the conditions or the disorder that was assigned to. Do I comment on that?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Remember the August 30th text? Was there any other, she implied she had received a message on August 30th, but didn't detail it. Can you talk about that now?
I'm not going to get into the content of the message. I believe that's out there. It could be, but what I will say is that the Petito and Schmidt family don't believe that message was sent from Gabby.
That's what they were engaged. They've heard kind of varying things, but according to the letter they were at the time of.
It's my understanding they were engaged, and I know they decided with the pandemic they couldn't have a wedding or the wedding they wanted, so that was put on hold, and they decided to go on their trip instead. From what I know, they were going to go to Oregon on by October 2nd, and they were going to spend time there. I don't know what they planned on that afterwards, but I do know that since they were supposed to be out there till August 2nd, Brian's family knew that when he showed up on September 1st, that, they knew that was against their plan. And again, when the police showed up over a week later, they already had an attorney's name and contact information for the police. So again, we're asking the Laundrie family to come forward and tell us what you know. Tell us at least where to look.
Announcement. So the alternative would have been they not move forward with it and hold back and not share that data. I mean, that's also not being transparent or leading with science. And so that's the course of history here, I should say.
Sure, just quick follow-up. So you said a moment ago that the top public health officials of the administration, FDA commissioner, CDC, Surgeon General, all agree and recommend that the American public should be getting boosters